Alright, hello everybody, XeriaX here, and today I'm going to read you guys another scary story. Now I'm trying to figure out how to do this properly. Still trying to set it up a little bit, so you guys caught me just in time, so I'm just going to zoom out there. And there we go. That's a lot better. Alright, now I'm going to be reading you guys a story, and it's called Something You Only See Through Others' Eyes. It's going to be a really nice story. And yeah, and I'll be right back after this pause. This was taken from Hayden's journal. The last name has been removed. It was found inside of his apartment 2 weeks after his death. On a quiet afternoon, in a normally bustling city, the air smelled of pollution and kerosene. I sat by my window apartment, peering out of it. I questioned why I even bothered getting up in the mornings. On the verge of madness, medications coursing through my body, my world falling apart around me. I sat quietly, rocking my body back and forth, hugging my niece close to me. Am I seeing that? Is that real? Question I ask myself every day. My mind raced as it shook my head, rubbing my eyes in disbelief. I was unsure if it was my hallucinations or a creation from my disturbed mind. A dark figure, cloaked by a heavy trench coat, head topped with a dark fedora. The figure's face was not visible from my perspective. He was hunched over, his movements unnatural, the muscles in his arms and legs twitching as he inched closer to my apartment building. The world around him moved in slow motion. Dropping a parcel on the building's doorstep, he gave me a quick wave. The shadow of his fedora concealed a vast majority of his face, except for one feature, his smile. I shuddered in fear. It disturbed me. It's hard for me to describe it. The memory haunts me to this day, but for the sake of my story to be told, I believe I must. His mouth mimicked decay, the corners sliced open, carved into a permanent smirk, exposing his rotten gums, his teeth carved into rotten shapes, protruding. I ran to my room, barricading myself. I clawed at my arms as I feel the shadows of nightfall falling around me, draping me. My throat felt dry as I wiped away frightful tears. I popped my head out of my bedroom, my eyes wandering around the dark halls for any sign of the dreadful creature I can't even consider a man, despite its upright shape. Filling a glass with cool water, I gulped it down quickly. A nagging feeling of forgotten task, mixed with fear, dwelled in the back of my mind. Glancing across the darkened room, I couldn't help but notice a red blinking light. I switched the machine on, checking my messages. "Hey, Hayden, there's a package at my office. Come pick it up. No one saw who left it, but it might be important." The mechanical voices of my landlord echoed from the machine. I switched off, taking slow strides down the dilapidated apartment building. The walls showed wear, wallpaper peeling off the walls, molds penetrating the ceiling. It unnerved me, the way the lights flickered like that from the faulty wiring. Chills ran down my spine as I heard the scurrying of rats deep in the walls. I knocked twice on my landlord's door labeled "Employees Only," but I heard no response, only the humming of static. My curiosity got the best of me as I pushed the door open. Fear struck me right in the face as my eyes roaming over the silhouette of my landlord's figure. His back was visible from behind his ratty old recliner. "Mr. Kelly, are you all right? Can I pick up my package?" I called, hoping to God that he would respond. I looked on for what seemed to be about an eternity. A sudden surge of courage ran through my spine as I pulled his recliner around. My mouth fell open, gasping, stifling a stream from escaping my throat. I was afraid whatever has done that to him could still be roaming the halls. The poor sap looked similar to one of the grotesque creations of my disturbed mind. His eyes were hollow, except for the dangling flesh of the destroyed muscles and nerves of his eye sockets. The eyeballs itself pulled forcefully from Mr. Kelly's skull. I couldn't help but wish to vomit when I saw his mouth. It was similar to the apparition I saw, waving at me, taunting me with its disturbance. His mouth pulled from his cheeks as mud and dirt was smeared on his gums, leaving them with a rotten image. His teeth individually yanked out of his bleeding gums with a new disturbing twist. They were placed into his cheek. Yes, I mean it. As in, chunks of flesh were carved out of his face to allow space for the teeth, sloppily arranged into demented rows. I fell back from shock, holding on to the small sanity I had left. I couldn't believe it. I wondered if it was real. I shook quietly as the window let in a stream of cold air, allowing the dirty curtains to flutter carelessly. The static rang into my ears, his television still on. Despite my better judgment, I switched on the television. The static grew louder, but stopped abruptly. The television played a video of the surveillance tape from what appeared to be a week before. It showed a man, dressed in a dark coat and a fedora, standing in front of an apartment. I jumped back, startled to see the apparition once again, but to my horror, the camera zoomed into the number it showed, 356, my apartment. I wiped away tears of fear from my eyes as the video continued. It showed a progression of videos of places I have been to. Then, as quickly as the video played, static played again, only to be replaced a video of Mr. Kelly's death. He sat in his ratty recliner, just as his body sat now, only in the video he was limp, as if he was intoxicated with some drug. His hands were tied behind his back, and I see a dark figure looming in the background, the familiar coat and fedora looming once more. I left before the torture ensued, but not quickly enough that I caught a glimpse of the figure's sadistic grin again. My feet pounded on the rotten carpet. I scolded myself, but I couldn't help it. I looked back over my shoulder and saw the dreaded sight. He grinned at me, only now I saw his entire face. It was me. Only a grotesque, disturbing image of myself. His hat was removed, showing his filthy, bald scalp, layered with scars and scabs. His eyes were sewn shut, forming two curved lines of scars on his face. He grinned at me, his voice echoing with a deep monotone. "We are the same." I ran faster, my heart pounding with fear, adrenaline fueling my body. I slammed the door shut, piling on heavy articles in front of the door, barricading myself inside my apartment. My mind screamed for me to end it as I heard him calling my name over and over in a sing-songy voice. He laughed as he stood in front of my door. I feel his presence threatening me. I ran to the bathroom, locking the door as I felt heavy foot falls across my hall. There was only one more shred of hope for me. I dashed to my bedroom, right across from the bathroom, as I grabbed the rope from underneath my bed. These are taken from the police report. Upon inspection of the property, we found a body of a young Caucasian male hanging from a beam of the victim's bedroom. We suspect that it was a suicide due to mental illness, as we have found a nearly empty bottle of prescription medication with 2 unconsumed tablets. Witnesses' accounts state that the young man, Hayden, was seen roaming around the hallways, disoriented and frightened. His landlord's body was also found inside the complex. The landlord's body was severely mutilated, and we believe the victim has murdered the man before committing suicide. We also examined his records, and his psychologist believed that he suffered from hallucinations, and we confirmed that the victim neglected to take his medication for the day. Now, I've got one question for you guys. I'm pretty sure everyone knows people that have taken medication, that some people have that you know have mental illnesses. And this is coming from my point of view, XeriaX's. Now, I've got one question. What happens if those people that you know that don't take their medication? What would happen? Do you be next? That's all I I needed to ask.